I, female 26, was invited to my sister's 18th birthday a few days ago at a restaurant. My husband didn't come because he said he had a meeting dinner with some clients. This made my family feel let down, especially my sister who wanted him there, and also her 18th birthday was a big deal to her, obviously. To my surprise, when I arrived, I noticed that my husband was having his meeting at the same place. His table was right in the corner, and he had about 4 men sitting with him. My parents and the guests saw him as well. I waved for him and he saw me but ignored me. He obviously was as surprised as I was. My parents asked why he didn't even come to the table to acknowledge them after the cake arrived. I got up and walked up to his table. I stood there and said, "Excuse me." My husband was silent when I asked, after I introduced myself to the clients, if he'd take a few minutes to join the family and me in candle blowing and saying happy birthday, but he barely let out a phrase and said, "I don't think so, I'm busy right now." I insisted, saying it'd just take a couple of minutes and that it'd mean so much to my sister. He stared at me, then stared awkwardly back at his clients. They said nothing, and he got up after my parents motioned for me to hurry up. He sat with us while my sister blew out the candles and cut the cake. My parents insisted he take a piece and join us in the selfie, but he got up and walked back to his table looking angry. We didn't talk till we met later at home. He was upset and started scolding me in front of my parents, saying I embarrassed him, made him look unprofessional, and ruined his business meeting. I told him he overreacted since it only took a few minutes, and it was my sister's birthday, and my family wanted him to join since he was literally in the same restaurant. He called me ignorant and accused me of tampering with his work, but I responded that ignoring my and my family's presence was unacceptable. We argued, then he started stonewalling me and refusing to talk to me at all. Also, it took literally 5 or 7 minutes. He didn't even eat or drink, he just sat down and watched. So, am I the idiot for asking my husband to join us on my sister's birthday? You and your family deliberately sabotaged his career. I'm a big birthday person and I'm disgusted by your ignorance and selfishness. Do you have any idea how professional business works? What you did was disrespectful to your husband and his clients and may have caused him to lose his job, especially if those clients are major ones. How will you behave when your husband interrupts you during your business meeting that you've already informed him of and drags you to another table to watch his brother blow the candles and have a piece of cake? Do you even work at all if you're this clueless? You are the idiot, OP. She probably doesn't work, it's pretty obvious. OP is completely ignorant that she's not only potentially lost clients for OP, but his career itself could also now be in jeopardy. Those above him will likely put him under a microscope, looking for any reason to fire him if they don't just fire him for this restaurant BS. Can we all take a moment to be grateful that the important client was not a lone female? Can you imagine the public freakout that OP and her family would have had if they saw him at a business meeting with a woman? You are the idiot. You've never had a professional job, have you? Upon seeing him at the same restaurant, you should have acted like you didn't even know him since this was a business meeting with clients. You and your family deliberately sabotaged his career. Honestly, I disagree. If I were one of those clients, I wouldn't think it was a setup, but I would think it was extremely weird that he didn't acknowledge the wife until that point. Imagine you were at a dinner with someone and they just silently ignored their wife who came over. I would think they were an absolute weirdo and wouldn't want to work with them in the future. Clients are humans, they're not business robots. The whole thing could have been avoided by him going, "Oh gee, my wife is here to celebrate her sister's birthday. I didn't realize it was the same place. I'm just going to go over and say hello." Then the meal would be interrupted for 2 minutes, he could head off any further interruptions, and they could carry on. No bigger interruption than someone using the bathroom. The wife shouldn't have pushed it once it became clear he couldn't talk, but the husband acted very oddly. I work for a tech company. My husband is an aspiring author. He's had some success and we hope for more in the future. When I got pregnant, I negotiated a full year of maternity leave with my employer. In return for the accommodation I made with my employer, I got a month of completely uninterrupted time with my new baby. Then I started taking on tasks from home on my own schedule. On average, it was 15 hours or so a week. My husband writes at home, so we decided that he would be the stay-at-home parent, and when I was working he would care for our baby. It was a pretty good arrangement, I thought. And it was, for about a month. Then he would start ignoring the baby, crying or claiming that the baby wanted me, that sort of thing. It began to interfere with my deal with my boss. I told him in no uncertain terms that if he kept interrupting me while I was working, I would hire a nanny for help but take the funds out of our fund budget that pays for dinners out, vacations and hobbies. He got the point, and I got my 1 or 2 hours of uninterrupted time every day. Until recently, it's almost time for me to return to work full-time. Once again, my employer was very accommodating. They were impressed with my ability to contribute meaningfully to my group during my maternity leave. So they offered me a choice to work from home, work in the office, or a hybrid schedule. I discussed it with my husband, and he said I should work from home to help more with the baby. So I chose to return to the office. I have access to a private room and a freezer to store milk. I can interact with my team and I enjoy the environment. My husband is saying that I'm being cruel and that my baby needs me. I said I would work from home if he got a job to pay for the nanny so it didn't affect our budget. He said it didn't make sense. I almost said, "You don't say." He wants me to be the main breadwinner while he tries to get published. He wants to enjoy life in an expensive city and he wants to stay home to write. Some of these desires are mutually exclusive, without him stepping up and giving me time and space to earn a living. We just saw his family for dinner, and he complained to his mom about me leaving him home with the baby and returning to work. She started in on me for my choice. I was embarrassed until his dad spoke up and reminded her that when my husband was born, she was a stay-at-home mom and housewife. He said that was what my husband signed up for if he didn't want a job. It just became a big argument. Now we're home and I feel bad and he says he feels emasculated. So we are arguing. I feel like an idiot abandoning him and our baby, and his mom thinks I am. Not the idiot. He feels emasculated. Apart from the fact that that's just an attempt at manipulation, if his masculinity is that fragile, he can fix it by getting a job. So, to clarify, he wants to stay home, not work, and not take care of the baby. Essentially, he wants to contribute nothing to the household in terms of either money or effort. This is absurd. He is beyond entitled and selfish. You have to work because nobody else is. If I were you, I'd be telling him I'll compromise by giving him 2 options. He stays home and takes care of the baby, or you hire a nanny and he can get out because he's dead weight at this point. Your father-in-law is right. He signed up for this if he didn't want a job. So he has to pick one, work or childcare. He doesn't get to say neither. Being able to stay home and work on his writing is a huge luxury, and he seems not appreciative of this chance he has. How are you being cruel and abandoning the baby when you're the one providing for it? The dude needs to step up. I'm sorry, OP, it sounds like you have 2 babies at home. I have 2 daughters who have different dads, Mia, young teen, and Ava, teen. Ava's birthday was 2 months ago and she asked her dad to buy her a new phone and a backpack. She chose what model and colour phone she wanted, found a backpack she loved, and was so excited to get them. Unfortunately, her dad got sick and lost all his savings to pay for medication and couldn't afford to buy them anymore, and I can't afford them either. We explained to her and she understood. I bought her a cheaper backpack from both her dad and me. Mia's birthday was a week ago. When she opened her dad's gifts, I was shocked. It was the exact phone and backpack that Ava wanted. Ava went to her room and didn't come out for the rest of the night. I waited until the party was over, then told her that what she did was cruel and immature. I took both the gifts away and grounded her. Her dad has been blowing up my phone demanding I give her gifts back. He called me an idiot and said I had no right to take them away. I told him he should have stopped her from doing this and acted like a parent. Am I the idiot for taking away my daughter's birthday gift? Mia asked for those gifts knowing Ava had also wanted them but wasn't able to get them then. Everyone's the idiot here except for Ava. Mia sucks for taking advantage of her father's wealth to upset her sister. Her father sucks for not parenting his daughter better than that and not caring about why even after knowing. You suck the most for not properly parenting both of your children, allowing money to drive a wedge between them, and having a crappy co-parenting relationship with Mia's father. Sounds like you have a better relationship with Ava's father than Mia's and are letting it influence your attitude with your children, who are noticing. You aren't 100% entitled to take her gifts away because the other girl felt upset about it. I get why she felt that way, but that's not your place. They're gifts from her dad, not you. If it bothers you that much, why not talk? If you think it was maliciously done, though, well, that's a different topic. Not the idiot, that was deliberate. A lot of the other people are missing this point. Everybody is caught up in the money aspect, but this is really the dynamics between the two girls, with one deliberately being vindictive with her choices. You're trying your best to nip resentments in the bud because one is trying to lord her gifts over the other one, which is total mean girl energy. The conversation needs to happen about the shady one's behaviour, and there needs to be consequences because if she carries this forward in life, she'll be an unpleasant person. I think you know at some point you'll need to return her gifts, but not before a serious talk about her actions. Get to the bottom of why she's doing it on purpose. Fill Dad in on the importance of Mia being her own person instead of being an empty copycat, and give her a chance to truly think about what she wants instead of just showing up her sister. My brother was married to my best friend Elle for a decade. They had 2 children together, Milo, who is a pre-tween, and Piper, who's a year younger. Elle was diagnosed with cancer 3 years ago and passed away almost a year later. Brother met Danny after a few months and began dating her soon after. He and Elle's family had a big falling out because he told them he was hoping Danny would take their mom's place and that they would embrace her as their new mom, and he wanted Elle's family to take a back seat so that could happen. They asked how he could erase Elle, and he told them she was dead and he and the kids weren't, and that he didn't want them holding a candle for a dead mother the rest of their lives, while they could have a living one. When they told him they loved the kids too much to disappear, he told them he could maybe arrange a phone call every Christmas. They decided to take him to court and were granted grandparents' visitation as the judge saw it in the kids' best interest so they would maintain a relationship they already had with their deceased mother's family. My brother and I also had a strained relationship because he also tried to get me to erase Elle. On to Danny. She and my brother married a few months ago and she hates Elle's family. She's accused them of caring more about themselves and Elle than the kids because they denied them a whole family. She visibly shows annoyance when the kids mention Elle. She blamed me when the kids told her they wouldn't call her mom. She and my brother asked if they would, and the kids weren't interested. She was also unhappy they spent Mother's Day with Elle's family and not her, and even told the kids. Not too long ago, she confronted me and said my contact with Elle's family sent the kids the wrong message and that I clearly have a favourite sister-in-law, which isn't fair. I told her Elle had been my best friend since we were 4. Her family and I are close, and of course we remained close when she married my brother. Danny told me I needed to stop seeing them or else. She told me she's tired of being second best and not being chosen by the kids. She said they don't even try to let her in. We argued, and I told her that her being jealous and controlling would always make her second best unless she learned to embrace that she did come after Elle in our lives. She lost it, and my brother told me my loyalty should be with him and Danny over Elle's family. He also told me I was insensitive to Danny. Am I the idiot? This woman sounds like a cartoon villain. Did your brother marry Meredith Blake from The Parent Trap? Not the idiot. It's giving, I have moved on, and the fact that my kids won't also totally erase dead wife from their lives is pretty inconvenient for me, to be honest. Like, who the actual heck says things like he wants the new girlfriend to replace their mother? He doesn't want the dead wife's family to see the kids, and he doesn't want his kids holding a candle for a dead mother when they could have a living one. Disgusting. Except he hasn't moved on. He's in denial big time and will bleed through the Danny-shaped band-aid he's hastily thrown on his grief. I read many of these posts where the step-parent is shoved down a kid's throat when a parent has died. They will end up losing their kids over this due to resentment. The best thing you can do is be there for the kids as they have to deal with this crap on top of the loss of their mom. Or maybe he moved on before. Danny isn't the biggest idiot here though, your brother is. All he and Danny are doing is guaranteeing that as soon as the kids are old enough to move out, they'll never see them again. I'm sorry for your loss. And those kids. Those poor kids. Mother-in-law is currently visiting from the Philippines, which is about a 15-hour flight. She has only come once for our wedding, so we haven't seen her in years and wanted her to meet her grandkids, preschooler and toddler. I really don't know her at all, my only interaction with her has been at the wedding. She wanted to wear something cultural, but I asked her not to wear white, the traditional mother of the groom colour in the Philippines, and she told people behind my back that I was a witch and ugly. When confronted, she just cried, said she was blowing off steam and accused me of racism. I've hardly spoken to her, so that was my only impression of her. I know she was super anxious about coming alone, so I tried to be as welcoming as possible. Mother-in-law came and I thought things were okay, but then she began receiving all these deliveries of food, and a family member drove an hour to bring her a casserole. I was confused, and when I talked to the family member, she said mother-in-law's husband had contacted her and claimed she was starving, and he was ordering what groceries he could, but any food they could bring her would help. I was even more confused. We have food in the house, and I cook every night. I talked to mother-in-law. She admitted she had been calling her husband crying because she was hungry. She said I didn't make her breakfast. I didn't know I had to. I eat something quick before work, and didn't tell her she could eat our food or use our kitchen. Again, I didn't know I had to, so she just hadn't been eating. I could feel my blood boiling and I yelled at her, asking why she wouldn't just ask. I said she humiliated me and should have come to me instead of running to her husband like a crybaby. She began sobbing. My husband came in and backed me, and my mother-in-law kept screaming for us to get out. I did, but muttered it was our room. All of her stuff is gone now. She must have left through the back door. She ignored our calls, so I sent a text, but now family from America and from back in the Philippines are calling us disrespectful idiots. My husband said he would back me, though he wishes I used a better tone. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. What a horrible way to welcome your mother-in-law. It would be best if you had worked with your husband to learn basic ways to make her feel welcome. Instead, you screamed at her, assumed she'd know how to find a way around your life and American culture, and made her feel so bad and sad and hungry that she left. What an awful ignorant host. I don't exclude your husband here. You both suck. This is a guest in your home, an older person from a different culture, away from home and unfamiliar with you and your customs. The reason she didn't ask you for anything is that she was afraid to upset you, not wanting to be yelled at and called names. You are a bully. Yelling at people and calling names is an awful way to treat guests, much less your mother-in-law, who's from a different culture and was walking on eggshells to keep from upsetting OP, the Queen. Not the idiot. Wait, why is OP a big idiot in people's eyes? I was never taught that if I'm starving and there isn't food to go trash talk the host. She should have communicated instead of bashing OP and making her look like some bad host. That woman expected to be waited on hand and foot, and when she wasn't, she pulled out all the stops to try and make you feel guilty about it. Plus, why didn't she ask to use the kitchen or eat any food if she was that concerned? Your mother sounds like a drama queen.